Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Living Luppy Podcast. My name is Luppy, and I'm living, and that is the title of the show. Yeehaw! I don't know, I was going to try yeehaw. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you guys are here. It is a rainy day in St. Louis, but we are doing this and bringing the sunshine to the internet. All right. If this is your first time tuning in to Luppy Podcast, which is very likely because this is only the second one. This is episode 2. The Luppy Podcast, the Living Luppy Podcast, is all about me. My name's Luppy. It's a very selfish podcast, but it's also hopefully helpful to those who need to hear it as well. But basically, it's about a fat musician trying to lose 200 pounds. That's me. We weighed in for the first time last week, and I weighed 437 pounds. So that is where we're starting from. And so my goal is to lose 200 pounds, so to get down to 237. But this is not like your typical fitness and health podcast because I am a big guy. What's up, big guy? I love it when people say that to me. I am a big guy and not a personal trainer telling you all the things you're supposed to do. Just do this and you'll lose the weight. Just do it and you'll be healthy. Stop being lazy. Because I know, and I think a lot of people know, there's more to it than that. So I want to do this to talk about the real issues, the things that keep us down, that keep us overweight. The fat is just a symptom of what's really going on in your brain. And I think people don't talk enough about that, And so that's what I really want to talk about. That's what this podcast is about, is trying to figure out why we do the things we do, why we keep ourselves down, why we overeat, why we have to eat a pint of ice cream every night, why we overeat, why we get addicted to food, why we get addicted to alcohol, why we get addicted to things that keep us from reaching our goals. Because frankly, I'm sick of it, man. I'm 39 years old. I'm going to be 40 this year. And I'm super tired of either getting close to my goals or not reaching them at all. I guess that's the same thing, but you know what I mean. Getting close, but not getting there all the way, and then giving up and living life uncomfortably big. I'm tired of it. I know I'm a cool dude. I know I deserve happiness. I know that I do. I do deserve happiness, and I am awesome, and I am loved. And I think it's important to know all that right now, today. I'm gonna use the pen a lot today. It's important to know that today, now, that you're loved, that you deserve to be happy today. At 437 pounds, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be successful. Absolutely. But I also know that I can do better. I know that I can feel better. Because mainly, when you're 437 pounds, there's aches, there's pains. And I'm tired of it. My knees, my feet. I have this plantar fasciitis thing going on right now that's been going on for 3 or 4 months. It's been going on forever. And I know that is aggravated by being overweight. My knees are just kind of, every time I have to get up, it's just harder and harder. I'm having issues with my elbow. I'm a piano player. My elbow hurts. I don't know if that has anything to do with my weight, but I just think it does. I think if I eat better, exercise more, drop some pounds, everything just works better. And I've experienced this because a few years ago I lost 130 some pounds or whatever, and I noticed a big difference. And so as much as I am happy and I deserve love and I'm happy now, I know that life gets better and a little bit easier and just more fulfilling as you lose some weight and just take better care of yourself. And I think that's ultimately what it's about. It's taking better care of yourself. So that brings us to Luppy Weighs In. I am going to weigh in on this podcast every week, and we are going to see my progress, whether it's good or bad or whatever. Every week I'm weighing in on this trip or journey. I'm going to try to use the word journey less. That was annoying me. You know how people always say, it's his journey. I don't know why. It is. Journey is a perfectly valid word. And I used it in the podcast last week a whole lot. And I listened to it a couple times when I was editing and everything, and it kind of got annoying, and I'm going to try to use the word journey less. But not that those who use the word journey, it's a perfectly valid word. I just think, I don't know why. It was really annoying me. So I'm going to read a thesaurus and try to find different words for journey. Anyway, so I totally lost my train of thought when I started talking about that. But anyway, the point is I am going to weigh in every week so we can see the progress and talk about it. So here we go. We are going to check out the weigh-in and see how it went today. All right, so 436 pounds, basically, and 49% body fat. I don't know how reliable that body fat measurement is on the scale. I think it's probably just an approximation, because I don't know why I lost a pound but went up in body fat. Mathematically, that doesn't make sense, because I sure didn't. Well, I guess you could say I lost muscle and gained fat. That might be possible. We're going to talk about that. Anyway, I lost a pound. Every pound counts. Now, look, I know the first week or whenever you start a diet, well, whenever you start treating yourself better, eating better, I don't like the word diet, but whenever you start doing better, you really want to get that first week and that huge weight loss. We're going to talk about why that didn't happen this week. First of all, though, I am proud of the pound, and every pound counts, and you need to remember that. Now, let's talk about the week. I struggled quite a bit this week, which I promised you in the first episode that this isn't going to just be rainbows and sunshine every week. This isn't going to be success every week. This isn't going to be, I'm perfect and I did everything I was supposed to do and I lost 20 pounds. This is going to be, dude, I just started this podcast. I'm excited about this podcast. I'm dedicated to it, but I couldn't even really do the work the first week. And that is reality, my friends. I am dedicated to this. I want you to know that. I am going to see this through. And I am dedicated to learning about myself and eating better and taking better care of myself. That being said, my goal was to walk 5 times last week. I walked 1 time. Now, I can make excuses because life has been very busy. I'm a musician, and I have a lot of gigs, and I've been playing every night of the week, which is really good. Staying busy. I'm also a piano teacher. I'm teaching piano lessons, and just other things with this podcast. It takes a lot of time. So I can make excuses. Hey, I was busy. I didn't get it in. The truth is, I didn't just sit around all week and be lazy. I was busy. But you need to make your fitness a priority, and I didn't. And so I got out 1 week, which is good, but I know I can do better. So also, that knocking was just the pen. It's not someone at the door. I told you I'm going to use the pen more this week. All right, anyway. So I didn't quite get out and walk as much as I wanted to. Also, I did not eat perfect. And I want to talk about that this week. That actually brings us to our battle notes for the week. And we are going to talk about ice cream. That's right. Ice cream. I have developed recently a pretty nice addiction to ice cream. For a long time, I wasn't eating sugar. I was able to cut that out. I really believe that there's too much sugar in our diets, and that's really the main culprit. It's calories in, calories out, number one. But then number two, I think sugar is, I don't want to say the enemy, but definitely needs to be reduced, And I had been doing pretty good with that for a while. But as I made some life changes and life got kind of stressful, I turned to ice cream. So let me talk about how this works and how my mind works. I am an alcoholic, I think. I used to drink way too much. 3 months ago, I decided to quit drinking, which was the best decision I've made in my life. So I quit drinking, and it's great. Of course, at first it's really hard. But then over time, started to feel a lot better. My mind started to open up. I had a lot more clarity of thought, and all that. And it just got better physically. But that left a big hole in my life and emotionally for me. Alcohol was what I turned to when I needed to be happier, when I wanted to celebrate, or when I was bored, or when I wanted gigs to be more fun, or when it was a Tuesday afternoon. I mean, seriously, it was just my go-to thing. And when you take that away, it leaves a hole. And that's a big part of this podcast, is that I want to figure out how to healthily, is that a word? Fill that hole. You know what I mean? So, man, you quit, you're kind of excited. When I quit, I think I got kind of depressed, actually. And I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. I just stayed at home all the time. It was hard to be around friends and hard to go out because you go to bars. And so I kind of became a hermit for a little bit. Then it was like, when that wasn't enough, I turned to food. Whether consciously or subconsciously, I think I kind of knew because I'm pretty aware of the stuff I do now with food. But yeah, I was like, dude, I got to do something. So now it's become this. I go to my gigs. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do it. I've come too far. I'm not going to drink. But it drives me crazy that everyone else is drinking and having fun and I don't get to drink. And I know that I probably throw a little bit of a pity party in my head. I try not to because this is a decision I made. I know that I'm going to feel better and this is important. But it's still hard when you're in that gig during your 2, 3, 4 hours you're playing. Everyone's having fun and getting loose and you're just sitting there like, oh, I just want to drink. It's like the temptation, the voice in your head. It's like right here in your ear going, drink, I want to drink. And you're like, no, I can't. It's not gonna happen. So what do? You find something to look forward to. And what I've been doing is turn to, okay, when I go home, I'm going to eat pizza, I'm going to eat chips, and then I'm going to eat ice cream. I'm going to watch a movie, and I'm going to make this whole fun night. And that's going to be my reward. So instead of drinking, I go home and I pig out. I haven't checked the calories. I have been coming home and eating around 3,000 calories, 2,500 to 3,000 calories before I go to bed. So the problem's not just the ice cream. It's also just overeating. I will cook a frozen pizza, eat the whole thing. Then I will grab the chips and do chips with some kind of a dip. Eat a lot of that, if not a whole bag of chips. And then I will grab the ice cream. What I've been doing is getting a 1.5 quart size, 1.5 to the layperson, and I've been eating like half of that. And that's stopping myself because I could eat that whole thing. So that equates to about 1.5 pints of ice cream. So I'm eating all that before I go to bed. And it's been equaling around 3,000 calories. About 1,000 to 1,200, 1,500 calories of that is from the ice cream. I won't even get into how much sugar it is, but it's like hundreds of grams of sugar, which is way, way too much sugar. So, but I feel like that's all I have left. I don't have the alcohol, so I got to have the food. I have to have something or I'm just going to freak out. I feel like I'm just going to lose my mind if I don't have something to turn to, even though I know it's unhealthy and it's keeping me from my goals. And I honestly have not figured out how to stop it. I have been reading books on overeating, and in future podcasts, I'm going to talk about some of those books. And there's great information in there. It is. But how a lot of books deal with emotional eating. It's like, okay, you're eating because you're either bored or you're happy or you're sad or you're anxious or you're scared of something, whatever. And you're eating. You need to figure out what that emotion is, find the trigger, and deal with the emotion. That's the last page of the book. Deal with the emotion. Okay? So I'm very aware of what I'm doing. I'm very aware that I'm coming home and I'm eating emotionally. Yes, I'm bored or this is my reward for the day. Or sometimes it is out of anxiety. Sometimes it's out of sadness. But sometimes it's out of happiness. I know that. I'm very aware of that. I even stop and think usually and try to think, why am I doing this right now? Okay. I want this to be my reward. There's a hole left from the alcohol. I'm probably a little bored, and this is fun. It's something to look forward to. Okay. Then what? That's all the books deal with. Just find that emotion and deal with that emotion. I mean, how do you deal with I'm bored? How do you deal with this is my reward? Okay, I can say to myself, this isn't a healthy reward. I should find a healthier option. But just figuring out the emotion and dealing with that emotion doesn't stop the fact that there's a hole there and there's nothing to replace it with. So it doesn't fix it. It is good to be aware. I do agree with that. But there's got to be another step. And actually, the book I'm reading right now, which maybe we'll talk about that next week, is called Mind Your Body. And it's the first book I've found that actually does kind of deal with that next step and puts an action plan into action. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? It's a good book, and we will probably be talking about that here in the future. But that's where I'm at right now, is trying to figure out what to do with those emotions. Okay, I know I'm aware, but that still doesn't mean I don't want to eat. I want to eat still. So how do I not eat? And that's the hard thing, is trying to find something else to fill that void. And I'm completely unsuccessful, but I'm not giving up. I will keep working on it and figuring it out, talking about it. It's a big part of the reason for this podcast, is trying to figure that answer out right there. So I'm just being honest with you guys. It's time for another week. I'm excited. I'm going to try to eat a lot better foods, get more fruits and vegetables into my diet, and trying to cut out some of the cheese and some of the ice cream. But I'm also going to be honest, I can't promise that this week's going to be perfect, because I haven't figured out how to fix that yet. And so that's what I mean by this podcast is not just rainbows and sunshine. I'm not going to be like, this week we're going to kick ass and I am going to eat perfect and I am going to... There will be times I feel like that. There are times, and I'm trying to get to that. But it's not how it is. It's not reality every week. And right now I'm struggling with it. And I just wanted to be honest and tell you guys that. And talk about it. So we will continue to do that and deal with it. Ice cream, man. It's delicious. I mean, dude, it's so good. And the way your taste buds work, the more you eat ice cream, the more you want it. because your taste buds need to be as saturated with flavor as they were the night before. So once you start eating ice cream a lot, fruit and stuff doesn't taste as good. Once you get off of ice cream and sugar, fruit starts to taste good. And then that satisfies your sweet tooth. But right now I'm stuck in the cycle of I really need the sugar. Just the taste of it. It's a way to just numb me out. It's what I look forward to every day. I'm at my gig and I'm like, dude, I'm going to go home and eat some ice cream. That's my new alcohol. That's my new addiction. So it's just from one addiction to another. And what I want to try to do is find a way to get addicted to fitness, health, reading, good food, better things. But right now, it's ice cream. So if any of you know what I'm talking about, feel free to comment, say hi. Let me know what you're dealing with, because we're all dealing with something. Also, you can tell me your favorite ice cream flavor. I think mine is Moose Tracks. It's my current addiction. You know, you get in there, you got vanilla ice cream, and then you got this big hunk of fudge in there, and you just eat the fudge, and man, it's good. It's too good. I need to figure out how to make carrots taste like that. All right, there we go. That's our battle notes for the week. I am going to take a short little break, and we are going to hear a little quick ad about St. Louis's premier party band, the SkyWest Trio. If you are tired of hearing me advertise my own things, you can get advertising on the show. So just give me a shout at livingluppy@gmail.com, or you can message us on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/livingluppy. Luppy spelled Luppy. You can get a hold of us, and it's quite affordable, and we can get you some ad space in here and get some people hearing about your project, or product is what I meant to say, or a project if it's a project. But yeah, let me know if you're interested in advertising or sponsoring the show. We can set that up. Otherwise, you're just going to keep hearing ads about my stuff. So here we go. Let's talk about the SkyWest Trio.
No diggity. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I like to bang it up, shut it. Get down, get loud. Baby got 'em up in all of the town. Straight to bitch, you don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Crisscross, I make it jump, jump. The man gotta make it jump, jump. The dad gotta make it jump, jump. Crisscross, I make it jump, jump. Don't try to compare us to another bad little man on the fan. And I'm gonna give you something that you never had. I make you want to jump, wiggle and shake you want. Cause I be giving the flavors that make you want to jump. Out the kitchen, mama rolling that body, got every man in the wish. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side, so I sit by my 40 and I dip it up. Designated driver takes the keys to my truck. Feeling good 'cause I'm faded.
Fireworks, like the 4th of July. I want the fireworks, lighting up the whole damn sky. Not just fireworks you see out the corner of your eye, but fireworks that stimulate your mind. Why can't I see the fireworks, like the 4th of July? I want the fireworks, lighting up the whole damn sky. Not just fireworks you see out the corner of your eye, but fireworks that stimulate your mind. Can I find it?
All right, welcome back to the Living Luppy Podcast. That song you were just listening to is Fireworks by Luppy, one of St. Louis's finest hip-hop artists and podcast hosts. Yeah, that's my song Fireworks. Like I said last week, every month featuring one of my singles. That's, of course, available on iTunes, so you can go to iTunes and get your copy. It's cheap and good entertainment and fun for the whole family. And you can take that and put it in your playlist for your workout playlist. Workout playlist. That's exactly how I meant to say that. So yeah, check that out on iTunes. Fireworks by Luppy. All right. Well, we are back, and we are talking about our personal journeys in the world of health and fitness. And, how it's hard sometimes to do the right thing. But that does bring us to our health fact of the day. Every week, I give you a health fact that I found on the internet with absolutely no research. I just go to a website, I find a health fact, and I just believe it. I just believe what they tell me. I do no research at all. So take that with a grain of salt, but no, I do try to find ones that make sense and that do sound real. And this one this week is people who regularly eat dinner or breakfast in restaurants double their risk of becoming obese, and that does make a lot of sense. When we eat out, we don't know what they're really putting in the food. And let's face it, most of the time they just want it to taste good. They're not trying to give you the healthiest option. So there's a lot of hidden calories in food when you eat out. If you use apps, I use MyFitnessPal. I think a lot of people use that. And that tends to have a lot of... Anyway, it's an app to... If you don't use it, it's an app to document everything you eat and keep your calorie count for the day as well as your exercise. It's a great app. It's fun. It's kind of fun to keep track of it and kind of know where you're at. But some of those big ones, like MyFitnessPal, do have a lot of, big restaurant chains and stuff like that. So you can find some of their food in there. Probably a good idea to look at that before you decide what to eat, because you'll know what's really in there calorie-wise. It is hard to eat out and eat healthy. It's not impossible, but it is hard, and it's definitely easier when you're buying groceries and eating at home. I, since I've made a few changes in my life, career-wise, I've had to be a little more conscious of my spending, and one of those main things was eating at home for every meal. Stopping the eating out, stopping the Taco Bell and the Domino's every other day. It's good for your pocketbook, and it's good for your fatness. So it's a win-win. It definitely is, man. And dude, I can't tell you, I do track all my money in and out, what I spend, what I make. And just the last couple months of doing that has made an incredible change in how much money I spend on food. And if you're not tracking your money, you probably don't even realize how much you are spending by going to restaurants, even just a couple times here and there a week. It makes a big, big difference. So that brings us to the challenge of the week. Here's my challenge for you. I would challenge you to try to eat every meal at home. If you have a job where you have to eat lunch, pack your lunch, take your lunch with you. But try to eat just groceries this week. And I would also challenge you to maybe make a note of how much you spend this week, and then make a note of how much you spend on a week when you do eat out, and just see the difference. It's a lot. For me, it made the difference of, seriously, $300 to $400. I used to eat out a lot. And when I go to Taco Bell, I eat a lot. And when I go to Domino's, I eat a lot. We'll talk about that another time. But the point is, it's expensive. And it's expensive when you're a fat dude overeating every night. So, my challenge to you is to eat groceries all week for the next week. Do not eat out one time. And see just how much better you're probably eating and how much money you're saving. It makes a big difference. And I'm a big believer in that. So, Yeah, so that is our challenge. That is our show. That is our everything. I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Living Luppy Podcast. I am having a blast doing this. It's really fun. It's very therapeutic for me to talk this stuff through. So I appreciate you guys listening to my ramblings. But also, it is for you too. I hope that you hear some things that you can relate to, or something that maybe you needed to hear, or just to know that you're not alone. I did receive a couple really nice messages from some friends this week. Thank you very much for reaching out. I don't want to I don't want to say specifically and put your business out there, but I just want you to know I do appreciate you guys reaching out to me and telling me your struggles. And dude, you're not alone. And it's good to know that I'm not alone too. And that's what I really want this podcast to do, is to let you know you're not alone. You're a human being. I want you to stop the shame, stop the self-loathing. I want you to love yourself in all your flaws. I am loving myself at 437 pounds with an ice cream addiction. You can love yourself where you're at too. All right, there's no reason to hate yourself. We're all human beings that struggle with stuff. And let's just start being honest about it and not hide it, Just be honest, and let's work on it together and figure some of this stuff out. All right? So, thanks for listening to the Living Luppy Podcast. Once again, you can find us at facebook.com/Living Luppy. On Twitter, it's Luppy1, Luppy1. Our YouTube channel is Living Luppy Podcast. Just search that, you'll find it. We're on SoundCloud. We're going to be on iTunes and Google Play starting the next few days, I think. So look for us there and subscribe to the podcast. We're on every Wednesday at noon. There's a new episode every Wednesday at noon. And you can go to our Facebook page to see that. Like the page and it'll show up in your feed. You know how Facebook works. All right, so anyway, thank you. Do it. Let's do it this week. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good week. I'll see you guys next week. All right.